Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're on the record.
I'm ready, Your Honor.
All right. We're on the record outside the presence of the jury.
Your Honor, this will be a part of exhibit in states, exhibit number 161. It is a PowerPoint presentation that is going to do cell phone mapping, which connects Kristopher Love, Crystal Cortez, and Brenda Delgado's phone. And in addition to that, it's going to link the defendant's phone to a phone he has in his phone as Mustang. And the evidence has shown or has come out that Brenda Delgado frequently drove a Mustang when she and Crystal Cortez visited Mr. Love.
I'm sorry. This is part of an exhibit 161.
Yes.
That's going to connect the phones of Brenda, Krista, and Crystal and Kristopher, and then I didn't understand the part about the Mustang.
In Mr. Love's cell phone, which we will get into another exhibit, his phone dump, which is all the contents of his cell phone.
Okay.
He has a contact named Mustang. The contact was created around the time, or the calls made to Mustang around the times that these planning purposes started.
A person, the contact would be a person named
Yes.
Mustang? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I believe that Mr. Johnson is objecting to the fact of this particular PowerPoint slide. We have a Mustang linking Mr. Love and Ms. Delgado in that phone number, if that makes sense.
It's not making sense.
Okay.
You just want to go ahead and
So basically, I think what we're trying to say, Judge, is in his phone he has a number of contacts. He has Crystal Cortez. He has Kelly Ellis under 2 different names. Then there's this name under there. It's called Mustang. Okay, and it's a phone number. It's this 469-394-1752.
Okay.
He starts communicating with Mustang around the time that he meets Brenda Delgado.
All right.
Brenda Delgado drives around in the Mustang. It is a reasonable deduction from the evidence that the phone number of Mustang is an alias number of Brenda Delgado.
Okay.
And that's how he's communicating with it. The phones will come in under how do we get it into his?
His cell phone was done through search warrant.
Through a search warrant. So we're going to prove up what's in his search warrant. What the defense is objecting to is us making the argument that Mustang, that the reasonable deduction of the evidence that Mustang is Brenda Delgado.
Okay.
And so we believe that that's an invalid objection because it's our argument. It has nothing to do with admissibility. It has nothing to do with anything like that. The phone's going to come in. This is our argument, which they're objecting to.
Okay.
Well, Judge, and they can make whatever argument they want. They have to have something to tie this other phone up, this phone number that's alleged to be Mustang. They have nothing that ties that up to Brenda Delgado. They're going to introduce an exhibit with the arrow saying that this is Brenda Delgado's ghost phone. We've got no evidence of that whatsoever. They got an exhibit saying that that's her alias. We've got no evidence of that. That's not a permissible deduction from the evidence. It's certainly not a permissible exhibit to allow them to come in here and put that that's an alias and then put on there that that's her ghost phone without any evidence to establish that link. So no, I'm objecting to this slide because it's impermissible.
Well, is there content on the Mustang that connects to?
They don't have those records. They don't have those records.
They don't have the records for the Mustang?
No. They have nothing to show that Mustang was anything ever it has any connection to Brenda Delgado.
If you don't have any content of the Mustang phone, what's the purpose of introducing it?
The communication is from the defendant's phone to the Mustang phone, and it started right around the time of the offense or the time he meets Brenda Delgado.
Does the communication between the defendant and the Mustang phone have anything to do with the facts of this case?
It's just frequent calls.
You don't have any content?
No text message content, no ma'am.
Okay.
It is just very simple, except one text message where he texts Mustang the address to where he is, which is the 7272 Marvin D. Love, which is where he frequents the Mandalay apartments in which he frequents, and where Crystal Cortez just said that she goes over a lot.
Okay, well, if there's no content on the Mustang phone, I'm going to I'm going to sustain the defendant's objection to introducing it.
Well, can we do, just take off the alias and just take off the Brenda Delgado ghost phone as those names there, and just say that Christopher Love is contacting someone by Mustang, this 469 number? I mean, that obviously is permissible at that point.
Yeah, you can introduce evidence that he was calling some phone called Mustang, but if you don't have any contact, I don't see any property value of it. But for the purpose of admitting it, it doesn't show anything.
I believe that again, could be a reasonable deduction from the evidence, but the jury can find from that evidence. Once it's admissible.
Once the phone comes in, once you have a search warrant to get inside the phone, then it becomes, the contents of it becomes permissible. If he's only starting this phone call during this time after he meets Brenda Delgado, then we should be able to argue that that's the theory of our case.
Well, I guess I'm missing something. I mean, if you don't have any content on this Mustang phone, what are you introducing other than the phone?
So what they're wanting to do is they're wanting to say that because the defendant made 20 phone calls to this particular number around the time, that it must be a phone that was, Brenda Delgado must have had a second phone that she was using for secret communications. And that's what they say is a logical deduction from this. And I'm saying that that's a step that's not a logical deduction, and certainly not to have an exhibit that comes up claiming that's her alias name, and that this is her alias ghost phone.
And that could be his argument, but our argument, it goes to the weight, Judge. I mean,
No, I'm not letting in an exhibit that says that the Mustang phone is an alias of hers.
right, and so we'll take off alias and we'll take off Brenda Delgado's ghost phone, but leaving the rest of it on there and let us argue it however we see fit.
I mean, you can introduce the phone, but not the fact that it was connected to her.
So on this slide, we're going to take off alias, we're going to take off Brenda Delgado ghost phone, and then we can, and then we're good to go from there.
Where's Brent? Oh, okay, yeah, take those things off.
Okay.
But Judge, I would object that they're going to make it, but I object they're making an argument that must be Brenda Delgado. I mean, there's no evidence that it is. And I mean, that would be allowed, that'd be asking the jury to make an impermissible deduction.
Your Honor, I believe that the jury can interpret whatever evidence that they want to, for however they receive it.
Well, won't you take all the phone calls to his mother and say that mom is her alias too, and say,
And
make
you
an
have
argument
his
to the
phone
jury
number
for
to
that?
do such. You can do that.
No, I can't either. I'm not letting
You
this.
have- you have his
It's not based in
document.
evidence.
Okay, one at a time, please. I'm going to let the phone in, and I'm not putting any kind of connection to Brenda Delgado. I'm not letting in. Anything else?
Not at this moment.
Okay.
And Judge, we object to the photograph of a Mustang trying to imply that the person known as Mustang is named after a car.
Yeah, yes, you're going to have to take a picture of the photograph of the car off too. It doesn't have to be a horse or anything. Y'all ready for the jury?
Just,
Judge was asking if we need Crystal back to the
I
chamber.
sent her a text and everything. I sent her an email saying yes for tomorrow.
For tomorrow?
Potentially, yeah, just add her.
I mean, I don't necessarily, it depends on the problem. So I mean, if something that can look in the meter, I don't want to have 2-hour wait for it to get brought over.
We don't need anybody else. I mean, I don't need to have anybody on my chain. It's fine to just have two.
Well, I didn't know if you don't want to have, in the case Cortez has to be recalled, I didn't know if you wanted to have her in the.
Yes, I would prefer to have that in case she has to.
All rise.
Please be seated.
State call Angelica Gordon. Ma'am, would you state your name for the record?
Angelica Gordon,
And for the court report, would you spell your first and last name?
ANGELICA GORDON.
And Ms. Gordon, do you reside here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area?
I do.
And are you employed?
I am.
How are you employed?
I work for Dunkin' Donuts, Pizza Hut, and Slosh Keys.
And are you familiar with individuals, Crystal Cortez, Kelly Ellis, and Kristopher Love?
I am.
And let me first ask about Kelly Ellis. How long have you known Kelly Ellis?
About 5-6 years.
In fact, did you used to date his brother?
I did.
At some point in time, did you also live with him and his brother?
I did.
Your approach, Your Honor? Well, let me ask you this way. Who is that?
Kelly Ellis.
And that's the one you said you've known about 5 or 6 years?
Yes, I have.
And who is that?
Crystal
Crystal Cortez?
Cortez.
And who is that?
Kristopher Love.
Did there come a time, and I'm going to take you back to August of 2015, was there a period in time where you didn't have a place to stay?
Yes, sir.
And did you happen to run into Kelly Ellis during this period of time?
Yes, sir.
Two of y'all talk, kind of reconnect. How long had it been since you last seen him?
Maybe a little bit less than a year.
Was the two of y'all connected? You have to say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Did he ask you where you were staying?
No, sir.
How did you find out you needed a place to stay?
I ended up telling him at the time I was on probation, so I had to go to weekend jail. I just needed a place to stay for the week throughout the weekend in order to go and do jail time and then get out and go back to work. So he understood and he let me stay there.
And just so the jury understands, at that time you were on probation.
I was.
And one of the conditions of the probation is you had to spend
Weekend,
in jail.
yes, sir, because I had a full-time job, so the weekends were the only time that I could sit in jail.
Okay, and that would have been because you had violated your probation somewhere.
Yes, sir.
And rather than just revoke you, they
Gave me
additional punishment of you have to give us some time in jail.
weekender time, yes, sir.
We'll let you do it on weekends.
Yes, sir.
And Kelly volunteered where he was staying, let you come in with them.
Yes, sir.
Would that have been around the middle of August?
Yes, sir.
2015?
It was just Kelly at the time, but it was the middle of August.
So at that time, it was just Kelly?
Yeah, it was just Kelly there.
At some point, do you recall Crystal Cortez, Brenda Delgado, maybe not all at the same time, but at some point seeing, and Kristopher Ellis seeing those individuals at that apartment?
Yes, sir.
When you would see them at the apartment, and I'm referring to Crystal, Kelly Ellis, Kristopher Love, and Brenda Delgado, was it apparent to you that they were having discussions about some certain topic?
Crystal, Chris, and Brenda, yes. Kelly, no. Kelly wouldn't be, he would be in the room, but he wouldn't be directly in the contact mix of what the conversation was about.
Okay. And would that be because Kelly tends to have a big mouth?
That is true.
But Crystal Cortez, Christopher Love, and Brenda Delgado, you definitely remember seeing them have conversations.
Yes, sir.
And the tone of those conversations did appear to be like planning an event.
On a lower side, Brenda didn't really speak English to anyone that was in the room. She would speak to Crystal, and Crystal would reiterate what Brenda said, but Brenda wasn't the one like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, this, and this, all in English. If she did say that, then she's speaking Spanish while saying it.
Okay. Did Brenda ever speak English in front of you?
No.
The times that you would see Brenda and Crystal, would they always have their conversations in Spanish?
Yes, sir.
Would Crystal then talk to Christopher Love in English?
Yes, sir.
Do you see Christopher Love in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Would you point to him and identify an article of clothing that he's wearing? Or look at him and say, article of clothing.
A black jacket, suit jacket, glasses, gold glasses,
What color were the glasses?
gold.
Now, you recall those conversations taking place at a complex called Surrey Road?
Yes, sir.
That's where you recall them being?
Yes, sir.
Not Mandalay Bay,
No, sir. Mandalay Palms.
Mandalay Palms. Are all those apartments in close proximity to each other?
Yes, they are.
Do they all tend to look the same?
No, they do not.
Some of them have different colored doors?
The Mandalay Palms have green and red doors. Surrey Road is a separate complex with a separate gating system, so you can tell the difference between both apartments. They might have been changed 3 years later as the name-wise, but everyone in Dallas County knows what Surrey Road and Mandalay Palms are.
And that's your recollection of where
Yes.
those took place?
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness.
So if someone else came out and said all these conversations took place at the Mandalay Palms, then you say that was wrong.
I do. The conversations that I have seen, what I recollect, was not Mandalay Palms.
Okay, do you recall the content of any of these conversations?
No, I did not, because I was not a part of any of the content of the conversations.
Well, you said that there was conversation in Spanish that was being translated by Crystal to Christopher Love.
Yes, sir.
How do you know that if you couldn't hear what was being said?
The table was not even 3 feet away from the living room where me and Kelly sat at, where we watched TV, where anything happened. There were no bedrooms that we went in. There were no bedrooms that separated them from going anywhere. They sat in the living room,
So you were 3 feet away.
literally.
You heard them speak Spanish. The two ladies speak Spanish to each other. One of the Spanish ladies translated, and from 3 feet away, you couldn't understand what she was saying.
And I was not paying attention because that is none of my business. None of these people had anything to do with me and the reason why I was there. So there was no reason for me to I spoke to Crystal. Crystal is the one who spoke English to me. Brenda never said anything to me.
Okay, that's all I have, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you,
No more
ma'am. You may
questions, Your
stay.
Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry, more?
No, ma'am, no
Okay.
more questions at this time.
Ma'am, you may stay down for your courthouse. Please raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
Sir, would you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Milton Martinez.
And for the court reporter, would you spell your first and last name for her?
First name's Milton. Last name's Martinez, Martinez.
And Ms. Martinez, you are currently on a construction company, a residential construction business that you're in right now?
Correct.
But back in 2015, were you also in the automobile business?
That is correct.
And did you have a employee by the name of Milton Martinez?
I'm Milton Martinez.
I'm sorry, Mr. Menendez.
That is correct.
And going back to 2015, did you also come to meet a woman by the name of Brenda Delgado?
That is correct.
Do you recall if Mr. Menendez sold a vehicle to Brenda?
Yes, he did.
And when he did that, he was an employee of yours?
That is correct.
Sometime after the sale of that vehicle, did you and Ms. Delgado, not so much a relationship, but become acquaintances?
Yes.
Would y'all spend time together?
Yes.
And during the time that you spent time together, did it become clear to you that she had an obsession about a particular subject?
Yes.
And what was that subject?
She was involved in a triangle,
When you say involved in a triangle, what do you mean by that?
meaning she was upset in regards to her ex-boyfriend and a current girlfriend. And I guess the current girlfriend of the ex-boyfriend was Hatcher, and the current boyfriend was named Mr. Paniawa.
And she had an issue with that?
Correct.
Did you talk to her about that?
Yes, I did.
And what advice did you try and impart to her?
I said I want nothing to do with that. I said if you know, if she took my advice, she should just leave it alone. Whatever she's thinking, just to drop it.
And when you say whatever she's thinking, drop it, was there something in particular that she asked you that made you give her that answer?
Yes, she asked me if I need somebody that can hurt Paniawa and Miss Hatcher, and I said, stop. I don't want to hear anything else you have to say. I said, if we're friends, we're friends. Don't involve me into anything else that you might have.
Did she ever respond to that?
No, she just kept quiet and just went on her business.
Pass the witness.
No questions?
Thank you, sir. You may stay down. You're free to call us.
Thank you.
Ready for the next witness, Judge?
Yes, sir.
State called Seth Rosenberg.
Good afternoon. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Please introduce yourself to the members of the jury.
Detective Seth Rosenberg, Dallas Police Department.
Detective Rosenberg, where are you currently assigned at DPD?
Crime scene,
How long have you been with the crime scene?
8 years.
That's the same unit that Detective Oviedo's in and that Santiago retired from?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury a little bit about you and your training experience that qualifies you to be a crime scene detective at DPD.
8 years ago, ended up going through a month-long class of taking photographs, collecting evidence with gloves, preserving evidence, doing fingerprints, just learning everything you need to do to collect evidence to preserve the evidence.
In your experience there in the crime scene unit at DPD, how many crime scenes do you think you responded to and processed?
About 450 to 500 a year.
500 a year for 8 years?
Yeah.
Thousands, 4,000 that would come out to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to direct your attention to one particular occasion on September 16, 2015, about 10:40 in the morning. Did you respond to the Dallas Auto Pawn?
Yes, sir.
Bounty? Explain to the jury what the call was that you received that particular day.
For the detectives that are on days, each day of the week you get assigned a day to go to the pound. You have request forms to say which vehicle to process and what they want done to it. Wednesday is my day to go to the pound, and this happened to be a vehicle that had a request form to go to the pound on that day. So I went to the pound, and homicide detective Barnes was there to tell me what he wanted to have collected because he wanted to see for himself what was in the vehicle.
Explain to the jury what you did while you were out there.
I took photographs of the vehicle, and I ended up finding a white T-shirt or tank top, gloves in the back seat, binoculars, a baseball bat, and then I ended up, after I took photos of that, collected that, then I processed the vehicle for fingerprints.
Can I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Detective, I'm going to show you 18 photographs here. It's State's Exhibits 115 through 132. We've been over these before, but I want you to look at those and tell me if you recognize them.
I recognize them.
Are these pictures you took?
Yes, sir.
Is this what the car looked like out there that day when you went and processed it?
Yes, sir.
State offers State's Exhibits 116 through 132, and 115 is already been added.
No objection.
Admitted.
Give me just a second while we put this up on the screen for everybody to see. Let me start with State's Exhibit 115. Describe for the jury, they've already seen this picture, but describe what that is.
White Lexus.
New State's Exhibit 116, are we just moving around the vehicle with these pictures here? 117,
Yes, sir.
118,
Just doing 360 photos around the vehicle.
119. Let's go to State's Exhibit 120. What's this?
That's what the front seat looks like. Just getting the inside of the vehicle as well.
And just so we all understand, at this point, this is before you collect anything, you're just photographing as is.
Correct.
So is it 121 backseat, driver's side?
Yes, sir.
What's that in the floorboard there?
That's a shirt.
We go to State's Exhibit 122. Now we're looking at what?
That's just the other side, the passenger side back seat.
Now, did you collect any items at this scene?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me go to State's Exhibit 123. We see a couple of placards there. What are these items that you collected?
The placard 1 is a pair of gloves, a black and blue glove. Number 2 is a white tank top.
Approach witness, Your Honor.
You may.
Show you State's Exhibit 133 and 134. Do you know what is in these brown bags?
Yes, sir.
Explain to the jury what 133 is.
133 is going to be the white tank top that you see. in the photo. And how I know is I end up initialing and dating the evidence when I put them in the bags.
And what's in 134?
Those are going to be the pair of gloves.
And that's placard number 1 in the picture that's up on the screen there?
Yes, sir.
State officer states if it's 133 and 134.
No objection.
Now this 133 is a tank top, just like a white under t-shirt type?
Yes,
thing?
sir.
And these are what, latex gloves?
Yes, sir.
134?
Yes, sir.
Now let me flip to State's Exhibit 124 here. There we can see those a little bit closer up, the gloves. In State's Exhibit 125, we can see the t-shirt. Now I want to move to the front seat here at 126 on the passenger side. And then go in. Now, that's a set of keys there. Let me show you State's Exhibit 137. May I approach again, Your Honor?
You may.
You recognize 137?
Yes, sir. That's what was in the front seat.
These are the keys you actually recovered from the vehicle?
I did not recover them.
You saw them in the vehicle?
I saw them in the vehicle.
Where were they in the vehicle?
I believe they were on the front seat.
I want to move to 129, Detective Rosenberg. What are we looking at a picture of here in 129?
That is the trunk of the white Lexus.
Did you collect anything out of the trunk?
Yes, sir.
What'd you collect?
A pair of binoculars and a baseball bat.
I want to move to 130. Tell the jury what they're looking at here. There's 2 placards. One says 3 and one says 4.
3 is going to be the Easton baseball bat, and 4 is going to be the binoculars.
May I approach one last time? Let me show you here what's marked as State's Exhibit 136. Do you recognize this, Detective Rosenberg?
That's going to be the baseball bat in the trunk.
This is the actual bat that you recovered that we see in the picture there?
Yes, sir.
State Officer State's Exhibit 136.
No objection.
The detective in State's Exhibit 131, this photograph, a little closer up with the trunk there, that's the bat right there in front of the jury. That's this bat, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, State's Exhibit 135, this is already in evidence, jury's already seen these. What are these?
Binoculars that were in the vehicle.
Let me show you State's Exhibit 132. Are those the binoculars?
Yes, sir.
Placard number 4.
Yes, sir.
Detective, after you processed this vehicle, collected the items that we just discussed with the jury, did you have any further involvement or processing of this particular vehicle?
I did fingerprint the vehicle after I collected them.
Find anything identifiable out there?
I know I lifted some prints. I don't know if they belong to anybody.
Okay. And after that, that's your involvement in processing this particular vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Detective Rosenberg, that's all the questions I have. Thank you. I pass the witness, Your Honor.
No question.
Thank you, sir. You may stand down.
Thank you.
call your next witness.
State calls Kenneth LeCesne.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please state your name, spell your first and last name for the record.
Kenneth LeCesne, that's Kenneth, L-E, capital C-E-S-N-E.
And Mr. LeCesne, where do you work?
I work at T-Mobile, cellular telephone company in Richardson, Texas.
Okay. And does T-Mobile also own Metro PCS?
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you do for them?
My official title is records custodian / testifier. When I'm assigned to a specific trial, I usually travel. I attend court and I authenticate and certify the records, phone records that are involved in the case.
And prior to going to...
Sir, would you pull that microphone around, please?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Prior to being employed with T-Mobile, what was your prior profession?
I actually retired twice. I retired from the Dallas Police Department in 2005 after 28 years of service. I then went to an IT company, Perot Systems Corporation, and I was the security director for Perot Systems Corporation. And in 2011, I started at Metro PCS.
Okay. And you said that you are a testifier. How often are you called out to testify in court cases?
Probably 2 to 3 times per week. I live on a plane.
And how does your home life affect that?
Well, I'm lucky. My wife and I have been married 35 years, so she's probably glad I'm gone sometime.
Okay. So, as a custodian of records for Metro PCS, do you often get requests from police agencies for particular, call detail logs or call locations?
Yes, ma'am, the company does. I work in the LER section, law enforcement.
Can you now pull the microphone back a little bit?
Okay. I work in the law enforcement relations section. That is the section that actually receives the legal demands from governmental attorneys, non-governmental attorneys, insurance companies, requesting records. When I'm not traveling, I also process legal demands. In other words, I go into the system and pull the records and send them back to the requesting agency or attorney's office.
Okay. And, or cell phone call detail logs. Let's start with Metro PCS. How does when one person goes to purchase a Metro PCS phone, do I have to provide an identification for that?
Metro PCS is a prepaid account. Metro PCS only sells prepaid accounts. In other words, you pay $40 for 30 days of service. There's no credit check done, so an individual does not have to give their real name because there's no credit check done. They don't verify the information.
So if I decided to go purchase a Metro PCS in the name of Michelle Obama, could I do that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what about T-Mobile? What's the difference between them?
T-Mobile has 2 different types of accounts. T-Mobile has prepaid accounts where there's no verification of the identification of the person that's purchasing that service. And they have postpaid accounts where they do a credit check, you open an account, and all your information is verified.
Okay. Now, when a person makes a call from their cell phone, how is that record indicated on your call logs or call details with the phone agent?
All cell phone companies have to keep call detail records, logs of phone calls. T-Mobile keeps call detail records 2 years from the time of the event, after which time they're deleted from the system. So to get the records that you need, the legal demand has to be sent into the company within a certain time period before the records have been deleted from the system.
May I post the witness, Your Honor? You may. And when you say legal demand, you meaning generally in terms of the subpoena or court order request?
Subpoena, court order, search warrant for governmental attorneys, subpoena for defense counsel.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 142, 143, and 144. And 142 is an application order pursuant to for a search warrant and for call detail logs on two particular phone numbers. One being 214-229-7810, and the second phone number (214-721) 5863. And in the warrants, they're listed as target 1 and 2.
Yes, ma'am.
And have you had an opportunity to review those documents?
Yes, ma'am.
And are those documents for the call detail logs on these two cell target numbers, are they made in the regular course of meetings at T-Mobile?
Yes, ma'am.
And were there any alterations or deletions from that you noticed or anything to these records from your system?
No, ma'am.
State is offering State's Exhibit 142 for record purposes, and State's 143 and 144 for all purposes.
No objection.
Permission to publish on email. So, for the record, in State's Exhibit 143, it is the listed cell towers and subscriber information for phone number, target number 214-721-5863. What is the subscriber information? What does that mean to you? What is that term?
It actually, subscriber information is the information that was given by the customer at the time the account was open.
Okay. And that includes a name?
Yes, ma'am.
And here I believe it has Casino Jackson?
That's correct.
Okay. And what is the address for the subscriber?
The address on the document is 7272 Marvin D. Love Freeway in Dallas, Texas, in the zip code.
Okay. And what does the MDN mean?
The MDN is the phone number, the mobile digital number.
And the phone model?
The phone model is, this particular phone was an LG P769 Optimus L9. That's the type of phone it was.
And this phone was activated when?
The activation date is 4/15 of 2015.
Now I'm going to show you the call detail logs from that particular phone number. Let's go from left to right, detailing what each column is.
Yes, ma'am.
Column A is what?
At the top, it's the calling number. It's the number that made the call
Okay.
or sent a text message.
Column B?
Column B is the called number. That's the number that was actually called.
Column C?
Column C is the queried number.
And what's the difference between the queried number and the call number and the calling number?
The called number is the calling number is the number that made the call. The calling number is the number that received the call. The queried number is actually the number ending in 5863, which is the actual target number that was requested in the legal demand.
And the next column says destination number.
The destination number is the number that was reached by the caller.
Okay. dial number?
The dial number is the number that was dialed by the caller. In some instances, those numbers could be different, the destination number and the dial number. Some people may have codes in their phones for numbers that they call on a regular basis, and they put that code in as opposed to the actual phone number.
So for instance, if one was to have a frequent number saved as number 1, then that number will come in as the number instead of the actual, like number 1 would show up in that column?
That's correct.
Okay. And then, the date, is that self-explanatory? The
Yes,
date
that's
the call was
that's the
located?
date a particular call was made by the target number or received by the target number.
The time?
The time is the time the call is made. On these particular records, they could be different time zones because in that first call, it's Central Standard Time, Central Daylight Time, depending on the time of year it is. In that next column, you have time zone type. On these particular records, the time zone can be determined by the tower or by the switch. If there's a T there, that means the tower that handled the call determined the time zone. Or if it's an S, that would mean the switching station or the computer that created these records actually determined the time zone.
And then the duration?
The duration is how long the call or text message lasted in minutes and seconds.
And what about direction?
The direction, it'll either be 0 or 1, whether it's incoming or outgoing.
Okay, and 0 indicates?
0 indicates that it's outgoing from the target number to another number.
And 1 indicates?
That it's an incoming call to the target number.
I think the next column is first latitude?
First LAC, first location area code.
Okay.
What used to happen is, before we started using this type of record, it would give you a LAC, a number of a location area code, and then it would also give you a cell in the next column. You would have to look that up. On these particular records, that information is included on these records. The physical address of the specific tower that handled the call at the beginning of the call, and also handled the call at the end of the call. And it'll give the physical location, the physical address, but it will also give the latitude and longitude, which are decimal numbers. If an individual was making a map, they would input the latitude and longitude into the software they're using to show where that tower was, exact position of that tower.
And what is eNode?
eNode is if it's the LTE call, on your phone, you can either make a Wi-Fi call, which would utilize a LTE site as opposed to a conventional tower. If an LTE site was used, there would be a decimal number in there identifying the LTE site that was used.
And then the next column?
T-route, that is something that is put in by the engineers showing how the phone call actually went through the system.
And the next column states answer status. Can you describe to us or explain to us what does that mean?
Yeah, answer status, the phone call will either be answered or not answered.
And then the next column, okay, you say not answered. What is 2?
Just to be sure.
Answer status number 2. It's giving us the number
Yes.
2.
1 is unanswered, 2 is answered.
Completion codes?
Completion codes will either be 0 for completed successfully, that means the phone call or text message was completed successfully, or it will be abnormal completion if there's a 3 or 4 in that column.
And then you have several service codes. What is the purpose of the service code?
There's several different types of service codes. Just to give you some examples, 11 is caller ID identification that will identify the phone number that called the T-Mobile number, and also identify the number to the phone number that's called, identify the actual T-Mobile number that made the call to the other person.
Okay. And then I think you told us a little bit about first latitude, first longitude, right?
Yes, ma'am. On T-Mobile records, it only shows which tower handled the call at the beginning of the call and at the end of the call. It does not show intermediate towers.
Okay. And that basically tells you if a person is mobile or being speaking.
It shows where the phone is in relation to the tower.
Okay. And then it gives also, I guess the next one gives the physical address of the longitude, latitude.
It gives the physical address of the tower. That's the closest physical address is where the tower is. The latitude and longitude is the exact location of the tower.
And is that the same thing?
For the last loan, yes, ma'am. Like again, it only shows where the call started and where the call ended. It does not show intermediate towers.
Okay. Explain to us the column Alpha Bravo.
Which column are you talking about?
The Alpha Bravo last.
Okay, last azimuth. You have a first azimuth. An azimuth is the midpoint of the antenna that handled the call. The antenna, there's multiple antennas on the tower. They're usually 120 degrees range on those towers. And that azimuth will give you the midpoint of that antenna for directional purposes to the direction that phone was in relation to that particular tower.
Moving over to switch name. What is the switch name?
The switch name is the computer that actually creates these call detail records. These records are stored on the switch, and when the proper legal demand comes into the company, that information is pulled from that computer, that switching station. We have switching stations all over the country, and depending on how the system's working, a switching station can be in another state and still create these call detail records and give the information.
Call type.
Call type is to determine whether if it's MS originating, that means it's an outgoing call from the T-Mobile number to another number. If it's there's also call forwarding, means that a call was forwarded to the email of the caller, of the person receiving the call.
You say email, voicemail.
Voicemail, I'm sorry. And there's other different types of call types and everything also.
Okay. What if we saw something with text messaging? How would that read?
We'd have to find one first.
Okay.
It's usually going to have MSC originating or MSC. These are all phone calls. Here's the SMS. MS originating, SMS in MSC. That would be an outgoing text message from the T-Mobile number to another phone number. And then MS terminating SMS would be an incoming text message to the T-Mobile phone from another phone.
And then what is an IMSI?
IMSI is the International Mobile Subscriber Information. That's how T-Mobile bills the customer for using the network.
And IMEI?
IMEI is the actual equipment identifier. That's the serial number of the cell phone used. Usually it's on the subscriber information. You can verify that phone on the subscriber information. That's unique to that phone and that phone alone. It is made at the factory where the phone is made. On this particular phone, I believe it was an LG phone, so it was made at the LG factory. It's underneath the battery in the back of the phone.
And now, when you talk about cell towers, are there multiple towers in the city of Dallas?
We have a lot of towers. We have a lot of customers.
Now, just to be clear, Ms. Wilson, you only focus on the towers call log, call detail from Metro PCS and T-Mobile.
That's correct.
At Metro PCS, is it possible to obtain the text messages from the call log, call detail?
You mean the content of the text messages?
Yes, the content.
No, we don't keep content of text messages at Metro PCS. We used to, when Metro PCS was on the CDMA network. That network has been shut down. It's on the GSM network, which is the T-Mobile network. So you don't have content of text messages on these particular records.
I have no question.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let's sit down and read it. Come back to John Miller.
State calls Randall Thompson.
Good afternoon. You solemnly swear or affirm that testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Please state your name and spell your name for the record.
Randall Thompson, RandallThompson.
And Mr. Thompson, where do you work?
Thompson Bearings.
Okay, what kind of company?
We deal with motor trains and engine parts and a lot of mechanical things.
Okay. And prior to that, where were you employed?
I was working for T-Mobile.
Okay. And what did you do with them?
I was manager in law enforcement relations.
Okay. And what were your training, or what was your duties consist of?
Overseeing the analysts and the other associates handling of search warrants, subpoenas, and court orders that came into the company requesting any type of call detail records or supplemental information on customers.
Okay. And did you often service as, I guess, a go-to a question and answer type person for a lot of law enforcement agencies?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And prior to going to Metro PCS, T-Mobile, were you also a member of law enforcement?
I was a military policeman for 10 years, and I got my state certification after I got out of the Army, yes.
Okay. Now I want to direct your attention back to around the October months of 2015. Were you working at T-Mobile then?
Yes.
Okay. And were you contacted by members of certain agencies, or various agencies, regarding cell towers around a capital murder that happened in Uptown Dallas?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And when you got the information, what were some of the first things that were requested?
There was numerous things that were requested in regards to the actual records themselves. As they filtered through and they acquired different records, they would ask for a little bit more. I would provide information regarding what the records contained and how they could best be explained.
Okay. And in doing so, were you able to assist them in locating different cell towers and locations of individuals?
Yes, I was.
In looking at some of State's Exhibit 143, the call detail logs off of 214-721-5863. I wanted to have cover some conversation with you. When a call is going to call forwarding, is there any training or experience of what you are taught as to determine whether the phone is off, if it's going to voicemail or leaving voicemail? What do you all look at?
Okay, to put it simply, there are basically two different scenarios where a phone call would go into call forwarding status. You get a phone call and you're busy. You're cooking, you're working, you're doing something, your hands are tied up at the moment. So what you do is you just don't touch the phone. Ring, 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 ring. Average is about 6 times, about 30 seconds. And then the phone call will then go from the voice system to the voicemail system, thereby giving the individual an opportunity to leave you a message. Or you really just don't want to talk to this person. It's a telemarketer or somebody that's been bothering you, and just swipe. And that call then immediately goes to voicemail. Now the last one is the one that we commonly refer to as just being off. The telephone is powered down, so it's not actually capable of receiving any information on a phone call coming in. That phone call, because the network knows that the phone is actually off, it will automatically route that new incoming call directly to voicemail. So there's no actual duration time, no ring, no disruption. And the records that we produced at that point would designate between those two in a fashion if you understood how the network operated.
Okay. What if someone sent me a text message and my phone was off? How does that show up on the call log?
If you're receiving a text message and the phone is off, you would not receive that message until the phone was activated again and actually powered up.
Okay. Is there, at this time in 2015, were there indicators or where there are times when 2 people on the Metro PCS network call towers would show up on one record?
So you're asking if 2 different people's information would be on one record?
Yes.
In a limited circumstance, yes.
Explain to us what's that circumstance?
Some of the information would be location information, so the tower information for that phone call or text message. We were going through many different types of variations of records that we were trying to develop to get an actual all-encompassing record that would work for everybody. At that point, we were allowing the information from both sides of a phone call to appear on each other's records. So if somebody was sending a text message, the recipient, if it was their records that we were pulling, that caller or sender's information would show up. If the individual whose records we were actually pulling was sending the message, then their information or location would show up on that record.
And so how do you determine where the person was, for instance? If you look to your screen next to you, looking at line 2785, which is what I have highlighted. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm showing that this call is showing up in Memphis, Tennessee. However, it was made by 214-721-5863.
Can you scroll back to the right a little bit, please? Right there. A little bit more, please. A little bit more. And go back to the left.
Yes, sir. And the reason why I'm asking that, Mr. Thompson, because the call right above that is at line 2784. It's the same call number, calling the same number. However, that person shows to be in Dallas on Main Street.
Do you have a physical printout of that?
It was very
Yeah, that would probably be a little more helpful if there was just a printout of that small time frame.
Purpose with Trump?
So here,
Okay.
Dallas, so at line 2784, showed that call in Dallas, and then line 2785 shows the call being made in Memphis.
Unfortunately, that is not correct.
Okay,
These are not phone calls.
okay,
These are text messages.
okay, so what's the distinction?
The distinction is under call type, and I'm not sure if it's listed there, but on the larger screen, the call type, whether it is an actual phone call or a text message, is designated by this statement of MS originating SMS in MSC or terminating SMS in MSC. So these are text messages, SMS, short message system. Text messages can be routed through other means. And if this one went through the system, through the switchboard, not the tower, that would change it.
Okay.
Because then at that point, it would be the, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
it would be the actual switch reporting location, not the tower's reporting location, which we get in some of these instances.
And so, and that's my point, just by an on look at it, you just cannot determine based on what you're reading if that's exactly where the phone is at the time call is being made.
Or a message system.
Or message
is
systems are being made.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, was there also, when you receive communications from these various law enforcement agencies about these listed phone numbers, what was your task? What were you asked to do?
To obey the orders that were issued to us, I believe there were court orders and/or search warrants that were involved. There was multiple numbers. So according to our company policy, we adhere to Title 18, 2703 of the U.S. Code and provide the records requested pursuant to that order.
Okay. And in addition to providing the records, did you also analyze those records?
To the degree that we were asked, or that I was asked by different agencies.
Okay. And when you analyze those records, what are you looking to do? Or what, can you tell the jury, how do you analyze that set of records?
The call detail records contain a lot of information. As you've heard, location, time, date, duration, things of the nature. Now, what we actually don't know is what was said. We don't hear phone calls. We don't record phone calls or text messages. But the information is there. And we try to disseminate it out to the agencies that are asking, depending on what it is that they're looking for. When was this call done? Who called who? How long did it last? Any information that we can actually provide based on the records that were presented is what we discuss and provide to them to help clarify certain things, such as in this case, the difference between a phone call and a text message.
Okay. Now, at some point during this communication, did you take an opportunity to evaluate the number of calls made to one particular number?
If I remember correctly, yes.
Okay. And how did you derive that information?
Not actually knowing at the time the number that was being sought originally, I would filter the records to determine how many calls were placed to who and to which numbers. So it was a little time consuming, having to filter through an Excel spreadsheet to see first how many different numbers were called and then how many times those numbers were called individually as it pertained to that particular instance.
And in conclusion of that, did you focus on or advise the law enforcement agency to focus on one particular number?
Yes, there was one number that came up amongst several different sets of records that was looked at. And again, it's not our place to know or be involved in investigation. We just simply provide the information requested. So there was one number that did come up multiple times across multiple records, and that information was relayed.
Okay, and do you recall if that number was 214-721-5863?
Yes.
Absolutely.
No questions, sir.
Thank you, sir. You may stand down. You may leave the courthouse.
Thank you.
State calls Gregory Duggar.
Good afternoon. You do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Please state your name and spell your name for the record.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Gregory Joe Duggar. The last name is spelled D-U-G-G-E-R.
And Officer Duggar, say officer, do you currently work?
No, ma'am. I'm currently retired from the Dallas Police Department.
And how long were you with the Dallas Police Department?
From 1989 to 2017. I stopped working in 2016 and retired the very third day of January 2017.
And in 2015, what unit were you assigned to?
I was assigned to the Crimes Against Children's Unit and the Child Exploitation Unit. I was also attached to a federal task force that investigated internet crimes against children.
Okay, you said internet crimes against children?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was some of your duties in that particular division?
I was a case working detective that investigated child pornography crimes, crimes that were sexual in nature involving technology.
And at some time, were you asked to assist other divisions with cell phones?
Yes, ma'am. That was part of our duties as well, was to assist other units when needed.
May I approach the room? You may.
I am showing you, let's go back. Back on October 2nd of 2015, were you asked to do a cell phone dump on a phone belonging to one Brenda Delgado?
I don't know who it belonged to, but I know I was requested to do a phone dump by a detective from Homicide.
Okay. And was that Detective Barnes?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And I am showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 141. I'm sorry. You were asked to do a cell phone dump on Kristopher Love. I'm sorry. State's Exhibit 141, do you recognize that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what is so distinct about this phone that made us, well, especially for me, realize what phone that was?
The sticker on the back of the case for Parmesan Red Berry matches what was in the photographs.
For what?
Parmesan Red Berry on the back of the case, the phone case.
Okay. And what type of phone is that?
It is an LG Android phone.
Okay. And when you say a phone dump, what is a phone dump?
It's basically using a software product that allows you to walk through steps and extract data from a cell phone or mobile device to a computer. It creates a file on the computer that can be reviewed and analyzed later.
And I'm showing you States 146. Have you had an opportunity to review this disc?
Yes, we did earlier today.
And is that the disc of the phone dump you did on Kristopher Love's LG phone?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. And I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 145. That's a search warrant allowing a search warrant request to obtain the information out of Mr. Love's cell phone. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
State is offering 145 to be fixed for record purposes only, and 141 and 146 for all purposes.
Objection.
Commissioner Publishing? And so, Officer Duggar, when you do the cell phone dump, do you make any indications about the physical condition of the phone?
It's documented by me taking photographs of the phone. One of the first things I do before I do the cell phone extraction is take photographs of the phone in its condition and also what it displays on the screen.
And again, this one had a unique sticker on the back.
Yes, ma'am. It has a sticker attached to the back of the case.
And then in States 146, what are we looking at here?
That would be the extraction report that was that's able to be read by the UFED reader. It takes the physical extraction and then puts it into a report that has a title box at the top, which has my information in it, showing that I was the one that conducted the extraction, and then the rest of the data below is what was contained on the phone.
And is that the data you're referring to?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
And if you look to your left, there's a smaller screen there. And so when you say the rest of the data that was obtained on the phone, that includes call logs, text messages, images, and things of that sort, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Pass it with me.
No questions.
Thank you, sir. You may stand down. You're free to leave the courthouse.
Thank you.
State House Officer Abeare.
testimony to show there was this cause of injury?
Please state your name and spell your name for the record.
Jeffrey Abeare, A, B as in boy, E-A-R-E,
And where do you work?
Dallas Police Department,
And how long have you been with Dallas Police Department?
26 years.
Can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury some of your background and training at the Dallas Police Department for 26 years?
I was a patrol officer for most of that time, as well as bike patrol, neighborhood police officer. In the last 3 years, I've been assigned to the Fusion Center.
What is the Fusion Center?
Fusion Center is an intelligence unit basically helping with real-time research and helping with criminal investigations, as well as any terroristic threats or any other type of threats that affect the public safety.
In the Fusion unit, do you sometimes are asked by other officers or other detectives to assist in cell phone dumps?
Yes.
Right. And what is a cell phone dump?
A cell phone dump is basically extracting the data that could be possibly on a cell phone.
Okay. And how is that process made? How is it done?
Well, we use a program that's called Celebrite, and we actually just plug the phone into the computer with the program running. It'll recognize a phone, and then we just tell it to start extracting data.
Now, Officer Abeare, were you asked to extract 2 cell phones in the case Detective Barnes were working with the Uptown Business murder?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm showing you what's marked as State Exhibit number 140. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
And what is that to be?
That is an iPhone S that I was asked to extract data from.
Okay. And this is the phone that was owned by Brenda Delgado. Is
Yes.
that correct? Okay. And then State's Exhibit 108. Do you recognize that phone?
Yes, that's another phone. That's the other phone that Detective Barnes asked me to extract data from.
And the owner of that phone was Crystal Cortez?
Yes.
And then I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 147 and 149, what those appear to be.
Those are both consensus search forms from the owners of the phones.
Now I'm showing you State's Exhibit 150 and 148. Have you had an opportunity to review those items today?
Yes.
Okay. And what does 148 have?
148 contains the cell phone report for Crystal Cortez's phone.
Okay. And what about the thumb drive for 150?
That contains the phone report for Brenda Delgado's phone.
State is offering to dispense State's Exhibit 108, 140, 147, 148, 149, and 150 Or any objection?
15 what?
150.
No objection.
Submitted. Commissioner Pop? I'm showing you States Exhibit 108, and this is the LG phone for Mr. Cortez, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, Officer Abeare, do you recall if Crystal Cortez's phone had a lot of information on it?
I don't recall exactly how much information were on the phones. I just pulled the report and sent it to the detective.
States Exhibit 140, this is the iPhone for Brenda Delgado, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, Officer Abeare, I'm showing you what's contained on States Exhibit 150, the cell phone data from iPhone 6, which is Brenda Delgado's phone. And do you see your name here?
Yes.
Okay. And what does that indicate?
It indicates that I'm the one that did the phone extraction and created the report.
And looking at the contents of this cell phone dump, was it a lot of information on this phone?
Yes.
And so you said that you don't read the information that's on the dumps?
No, ma'am.
You create the record and you turn it back over to the detectives that requested it?
Correct.
And now I'm showing you the report that's on States Exhibit 148. And this is the LG GSM phone, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And this is was also done by yourself
Yes.
or Detective Bourne?
Correct.
again, based on the information that you're looking here, what's contained on the record, is this a lot of information?
Not really, no.
Not normally what you normally would see when you're asked to do a dump?
Correct. Not usually what we see.
Pass the witness.
No questions?
Thank you, sir. You may stand down and leave the courthouse.
Let me take an afternoon break.
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, about 20 till.